What's going on, y'all? Happy Wednesday. We're going to get into Matthew 14 today. So, yeah, I hope each and every one of you are having a blessed and fruitful day. And let's get into Matthew 14 so we can learn more about Jesus Christ. I'm really excited today. At that time, Herod the ruler heard reports about Jesus, and he said to his servants, "This is John the Baptist. He has been raised from the dead, and for this reason these powers are at work in him." For Herod had arrested John, bound him, and put him in prison on account of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, because John had been telling him, "It is not lawful for you to have her." Though Herod wanted to put him to death, he feared the crowd because they regarded him as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday came, the daughter of Herodias danced before the company, and she pleased Herod so much that he promised on oath to grant her whatever she might ask. Prompted by her mother, she said, "Give me the head of John the Baptist here on a platter." The king was grieved, yet out of regard for his oaths and for the guests, he commanded it to be given. He sent and had John beheaded in the prison. The head was brought on a platter and given to the girl, and who brought it to her mother. His disciples came and took the body and buried it. Then they went and told Jesus. Okay, let's pause right here, a bit of context. So Herod is not Herod from the beginning of Matthew, okay? Herod the Great is at the beginning of Matthew. This is Herod Antipas, who is a son of Herod the Great, okay? And he was a tetrarch of Galilee. A tetrarch is lower than a king. He wanted to be a king and take all the power, but he was denied. His brother Archelaus ruled the south. Philip, his other brother, ruled the north, whose wife was Herodias, that eventually came to Herod. And Herod was upset because John called them out of their adultery, and them being leaders made it worse because they were a bad example for other people as well. And this is sort of similar to in the book of Judges where Jephthah, I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly, when he sacrificed his daughter in an oath, because they both had to do it based on an oath. And essentially in the book of Judges, Jephthah, he made a vow after he had a battle with the Ammonites that whoever walks through the door of this building, they would be sacrificed, and his daughter first came out. So it's a bit of similarity there. But yeah, John went to the Good Shepherd and John was killed. Now when Jesus heard this, he withdrew from there in a boat to a deserted place by himself. But when the crowds heard it, they followed him on foot from the towns. And when he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion for them and cured their sick. When it was evening, the disciples came to him and said, "This is a deserted place, and the hour is now late. Send the crowds away so that they may go into villages and buy food for themselves." Jesus said to them, "They need not go away. You give them something to eat." They replied, "We have nothing here but 5 loaves and 2 fish. And he said, "Bring them here to me." He then ordered the crowds to sit down on the grass, taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish. He looked up to heaven, blessed and broke the loaves, gave them to the disciples, and all the disciples gave them to the crowds. And all ate and were filled. And they took up what was left over of the broken pieces, 12 baskets full. And those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. So right here, there are only 5,000 men. There could have been like 10 to 15,000 people, okay? So that in itself, out of 5 loaves and 2 fish, that just shows how powerful God is in Jesus. But Jesus went to withdraw. He withdrew away, probably to grieve, okay? Jesus is sad. He's grieving. He wants to be alone, and he still healed these people. He still had compassion. And when Jesus withdraws from places that we are aware of when he withdraws, we also need to withdraw with him like these people did. Because if Jesus isn't in a situation that we're in, that gives us a reason to depart. Okay. He then called his disciples to serve when he said, "You give them something to eat." Serve them, give them something to eat. He knew that they didn't have food, so he called upon their faith then, but he said, "Here, serve them, feed them." And then they acknowledged that they don't have food, and Jesus was testing their faith. He said, "All right, come to me." And I want to highlight one last part, and it said, "And blessed and broke the loaves." This is foreshadowing the Last Supper, when Jesus broke the bread, gave it to his disciples, saying, "Take this, all of you, and eat from it, from this is my body, which will be given up for you." It's foreshadowing Jesus at the Last Supper when he gives up his body, which becomes the actual bread, the bread of life, which is him himself. But also, it's a good indicator to bless the food before you eat. Moving on. Immediately, he made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. But by this time the boat, battered by the waves, was far from the land, for the wind was against them. And early in the morning he came walking towards them on the lake. And when the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified, saying, "It is a ghost." And they cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them and said, "Take heart, it is I, do not be afraid." Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat, started walking on the water, and came towards Jesus. But when he noticed the strong wind, he became frightened. And beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him, saying to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" When they got into the boat, the wind ceased, and those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." So here Peter went onto the boat, out of the boat, onto the water, and he wasn't doing it out of a boastfulness, being like, "Oh yeah, I want to try and be like him." But he wanted to go out and be with Jesus, okay? And originally, his focus was just on Jesus. He wasn't worried at all. He was walking out, and then when his attention diverted, when he looked somewhere else, his doubt and his effort to try and control him staying up on the water instead of keeping his eyes on Jesus and letting Jesus keep him afloat is the reason why he sank and had to call upon him to be saved. But we need to admire the faith that he has instead, because he either could swim back to the boat or he could call upon Jesus. And what did he do? He called upon Jesus because he had faith. But when we're going through a spiritual battle, when we're in a spiritual storm, and we're at Peter and we're having to walk to Jesus on the water, and then our eyes divert from Jesus and we look away, the only way you can get through is from Jesus, okay? Jesus is going to save you. He's going to get you, deliver you out of what you're going through. And, even a bit of wind, which might divert your attention, which, in case you're in a bad situation, if you're in a storm and some wind, something else bad happens, and then you see that you maybe take your eyes off of Jesus, you'll begin to sink even further than what you're going through, because the storm is meant to strengthen your faith so you trust in Jesus. But once you try to control it on your own, try and take over what you want and how your life is going to go, and not allow Jesus to help guide you out of the storm in a holy and heavenly way, not in a sinful, wicked way. And when he gathers you, when he guides you out of it, if you divert your attention away from him, you're going to sink spiritually like Peter did physically. The word doubt is to be divided in two. When Peter doubted, he was divided in two, because him and Jesus are one. We're all one with Jesus. But when we doubt in Christ, we're separating, because we're not allowing Christ to come back to us to help us, because what you need faith. All right, faith and doubt they're antonyms of each other. But also, when Peter was sinking and when Jesus saved him, he said, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" Jesus doesn't rebuke you. He doesn't condemn you. He says, why are you doubting in me? He reassured Peter. He didn't rebuke him. He comforted him. He brought him back to the boat, and he continued to help Peter become better and on his path. But Jesus says, why do you doubt? Why do we doubt Jesus when we know we're going through something, but we also know he's in control, and yet we still doubt him because we think that we know what we're doing, what he's doing, when in reality, we have no idea. We have no idea what he's doing. He could be blessing. It could be a blessing in disguise. It could be him shaping you for the preparation of the calling he has made out for you, for his way for you. He could be doing something that you can't see, that he hasn't revealed to you yet, because you're not ready to have it revealed. But yet we still doubt. I doubt him all the time. I doubt him every single day, and it's something I struggle with. It's something I need to pray on consistently, as I'm sustained by it. But Jesus doesn't rebuke you. He doesn't condemn you. He says, "Come to me. Why do you doubt? Just trust in me. Have faith." Jesus says even the faith of a little mustard seed. It's like this big. It might be smaller than that. That's all you need. Just trust and have faith and pray. But the message here is we need to keep our eyes on Jesus and rebuke fear, anxiety, worry that may be going on in our life if we're going through a storm, mentally, spiritually, in our lives, physically. Whenever you go through a storm, this reminds me of when I broke my foot. I was in a storm, but trusting in Jesus, and there's a bit of wind. He reassured me. He said, "Why do you doubt?" And now I didn't even play my senior year. I'm in college soccer now. And I'm not saying this to be arrogant or boastful. I'm saying this. Jesus will guide you out of the storm and take you back to the shore where there won't be a storm at all. So you of little faith, do not doubt. Okay. And when they had crossed over, they came to the land at Gennesaret. After the people of that place recognized him, they sent word throughout the region and brought all who were sick to him, and begged him that they might even touch the fringe of his cloak, and all who touched it were healed. This reminds me of when that woman who had the hemorrhages said, "If I just touch his garment, I will be healed." Look at these people's faith. Faith. This is about faith as well. Feeding the 5,000, the disciples having faith. the Peter having faith, even when he had faith to go out into the water. Then when his attention diverted, when he took his eyes off of Jesus, when we take our eyes off of Jesus, what do? Do we then call upon him when we realize that we're sinking? Or do we continue to sink and allow our souls and our salvation to be at risk? Or do we try and swim back to the boat on ourselves? Or do we try and ask Jesus, Lord, bring me back up, save me, and take me back to the boat yourself? When these people at Gennesaret, when they recognized him, when they were sick, what did they do? They didn't avoid him. They went up to him and said, even if I just graze his garment, I'm going to be healed. This is a beautiful chapter of faith, looking into just what Jesus will do for you if you have faith. Faith. Okay, it's so important to have faith. It's hard. It is very hard. And it's a miracle in itself that they made it to the other side throughout that storm, because Jesus brought them all out. He didn't just bring Peter through the storm. He brought all 12 of them. I bet they were scared. I would be. But we need to take heart. It is him. Do not be afraid. I think that's going to cap out Matthew 14 today. I really enjoyed this today. I hope each and every one of you have a blessed day. This will be out probably later in the day. And yeah, getting to Matthew 15 tomorrow, where we talk about some important stuff. Oh yeah, we're going to get into some important stuff again tomorrow. All right, guys, you guys take care. Have a good day.